All right, the stage is set for a fierce showdown in Parliament. Anytime now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be speaking there in Parliament. What we have heard from our sources is that Home Minister Amit Shah did meet with the Prime Minister before his speech in Lok Sabha. Now, there's a lot of anticipation on this speech. Remember, the Congress is saying that they will disrupt, and if Rahul Gandhi is not allowed to speak as well. The past 2 days, we've seen MPs getting suspended. We've seen voices being raised as well, all because the opposition felt that they did not have a voice in the Parliament. Piyush Mishra, my colleague, joins us for more on this. Piyush, is it all set? Is the Prime Minister all set for 5 o'clock? And what exactly is the strategy there? Because the BJP at this point knows very well that Congress will be disrupting. They want Rahul Gandhi to be allowed to speak first.
Well, that's right, Rahul. What we are now given to understand is that PM Narendra Modi is going to speak any minute from now, and he is going to reply to the motion of thanks and to the President's address. Most likely, Prime Minister is going to highlight the main features of budget, how beneficial it is going to be for the people of country. Prime Minister will also focus how this budget is a budget for Viksit Bharat. But on the other side, the Congress party has its own strategy, and that's the same strategy which it has been adopting for the last 2 days. You would have seen how the Congress leaders have been raising slogans. They are creating ruckus, and because of that, around 7 Congress MPs and 1 left MP were also suspended. All these MPs were also seen protesting right here at the Makar Dwar of Parliament. Sources are telling us that when PM Narendra Modi will come for speaking in Lok Sabha on the motion of thanks to the President's budget, Rahul Gandhi will, try his best to hand over the book of General Naravane. Remember that a few minutes back, Rahul Gandhi had also shown that book to media, and now he has also decided to hand over that book to PM Narendra Modi. On this, announcement which Rahul Gandhi has made, what we are told from our sources that BJP also has a strategy in place. BJP will ensure that Prime Minister speaks and Prime Minister addresses the nation in a proper manner. There is no ruckus created when Prime Minister speaks. For that, BJP will also ensure that all the points which PM Narendra Modi is going to raise reaches out to the people. So both the parties have their strategies in place. Rahul Gandhi tries best to hand over the book. On the other side, BJP will ensure that this does not happen and a proper speech of Prime Minister can take place. So as we are speaking, the MPs who were suspended, they are still there at the Makar Dwar and they are protesting. But on the other side, the remaining MPs of Congress and opposition, they all are there inside the Lok Sabha. And when Prime Minister will speak, we are expecting a lot of sloganeering.
All right, Piyush, just a quick update over there. The House did sit in, but within minutes, it's now been adjourned again, because we are made to understand there was some ruckus that took place inside the House. Let's play back those pictures if we can of what's happening in the Lok Sabha. So exactly at 5 is when the House did sit into session. You saw some ruckus there. We saw people on both sides of the aisle actually get up. We are made to understand that there were some sloganeering that was taking place, and immediately on the basis of that, the House was adjourned. It was barely a minute or so that the House actually functioned, and there it has gone back to it. So Piyush, it looks like there will be a delay. Generally in cases like these, we've seen in the past that, the government actually sits down with the opposition. There are these back channel door conversations that take place, and they arrive at a common point that, okay, do not disrupt when the Prime Minister is speaking. We'll allot you so much time. Okay, speak after, or okay, not 4 speakers but 2 speakers. They always come to a compromise. Is there a struggle with BJP and Congress at the moment? Are they not speaking to each other?
Well, Sunil, they are. In fact, the government has tried its best to have a consensus built. We have ourselves seen the meetings being chaired by Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. He has been talking to the various leaders from government as well as from opposition. Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Rijiju also held a meeting with Deputy Leader of the Congress Party, Gaurav Gogoi, at the chambers of Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. few minutes back, there was a meeting between the opposition MPs and the government MPs in the office of Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. But it seems like opposition is not at all ready to let the issue of General Naravane go in vain. They want to continue to raise this. They want government to answer on the claims which Rahul Gandhi is making. Though BJP has made it very, very clear that if something is not published, if something is not in the public record, how can that be even discussed here on the floor of the House? In fact, BJP MP Nishikant Dubey had also come up with around 15 to 20 books. Those were published during the UPA era. There were many books, those were also banned during the UPA era, and now he wants, which means that BJP wants some discussion to take place on those books first, and then a discussion on Naravane's book can take place. So we are now
Okay,
seeing...
Piyush, let me just quickly give an update. Since you're standing outside, Lok Sabha has now been adjourned for the entire day. They will resume tomorrow morning at 11. So perhaps goes back to the point I was trying to raise. They have not managed to build consensus with the opposition, and the reason why they've decided to actually adjourn the parliament.
Well, that's right. The consensus has not been built, and that's why once again we are now seeing how House has got adjourned. It will resume tomorrow at 11 a.m. PM Narendra Modi was scheduled to speak at 5 p.m. Even before Prime Minister could speak, we saw massive ruckus, massive sloganing taking place at the part of opposition, and that's why the House had to be adjourned. Prime Minister was to speak in the capacity of Leader of the House, and when Leader of the House speaks, a motion gets passed. And this was a very crucial motion. It was the motion of thanks to the President's speech on budget. If Prime Minister would have spoken, a lot of things would have come out as to how the government is preparing as far as its strategy on budget is concerned, what will be the government's agenda for Viksit Bharat budget and how it is going to move ahead. Prime Minister would have unveiled a lot of things which the government is looking forward to do, but that has not happened. In fact, it all started, Sonal, we need to remember, it all started with what Rahul Gandhi did. He was given an opportunity to speak on this, but he chose to come up with a book which was not published. Then he said that it is published in magazine. When he did that, the Lok Sabha Speaker made it very clear that the rule of Lok Sabha states clearly that anything which does not relate to the current topic of discussion, which means the discussion on motion of thanks to the President's address, you are not allowed to speak. Moreover, something which is not published, which is not in public domain, cannot also be discussed. And that was the ruling which was given by Lok Sabha Speaker. But Rahul Gandhi decided not to listen to what the Lok Sabha Speaker was saying. Multiple times it happened. For at least 2 days, we saw the Lok Sabha Speaker requesting Rahul Gandhi to speak on the President's speech, but he did not do that. Following which, we have multiple times seen how House has been getting adjourned. No discussion on President's speech has taken place, and finally, today when Prime Minister
Help us understand. Today, when the Prime Minister was expected to speak, yes, the occasion was a vote of thanks, but Prime Minister would have also spoken and attacked the Congress party, right? He would have attacked expectedly Rahul Gandhi. There was supposed to be a clarification issued on the US deal as well. A lot of those pressing issues were going to come up in the Prime Minister's address. Isn't that correct?
That's right, but Prime Minister can speak only when the House is in order, and House is not in order because of the continuous ruckus and sloganing being done by the opposition MPs. Today, when at around 12 noon, Piyush Goyal, Union Commerce Minister, was making his statement on India-US deal, a lot of ruckus, a lot of sloganing happened, and even we could not hear what Piyush Goyal was saying, and that was not a proper speech. Though we have tried to understand what has so far, and what is the government's message on this Indo-US deal. But the point here is that amidst the continuous ruckus, it was not possible to speak, and that's why when House was not in order, the Lok Sabha Speaker has decided to adjourn the House until 11 a.m. tomorrow.
All right. Just to update our viewers who are just tuning in, we were all actually looking forward to hear from the Prime Minister at 5 o'clock from the lower house over there, which is Lok Sabha. and the Prime Minister was going to address the nation. It was supposed to be, the occasion was supposed to be, the vote of thanks on the budget session, but there were a lot of, issues being discussed in Parliament over the past couple of days, and the expectation was that he's going to come and give a very fierce response. Now, somewhere in the middle of all of this, consensus has not been met between both the benches, between the government and the opposition, and that's the reason why House has now been adjourned, and adjourned for the day. It will convene tomorrow at 11 a.m. All right, let's tell you a little bit more about what exactly happened. Now, chaos continued to reign inside Parliament even before this adjournment. A day after Rahul Gandhi brought up former Army Chief General M.M. Naravane's memoir in Parliament, the BJP hit back with its own book attack. So it became book versus book. BJP MP Nishikant Dubey walked into the House holding up books on alleged Congress sort of graft, including one of that of Beaufort scam. Now, that triggered loud protests from the opposition benches. The situation quickly escalated, with opposition MPs now tearing papers, throwing them inside the House, while torn sheets were also hurled back amidst the commotion. Now, tearing paper and putting it back, like we said, it's become a book versus book fiasco at the moment. Torn sheets are not new. We've seen it for the past couple of days as well being hurled. Some MPs being suspended for the rest of the session as well due to that. Now, Congress MP, meanwhile, Priyanka Gandhi then accused the BJP of using Nishikant Dubey to deliberately disrupt proceedings. She has alleged that Dubey was doing the government's bidding and sent in only to create disruption so that nothing else could be actually spoken about. So there is politics on both sides, a lot of it true, a lot of it peddled, as well as it always happens in India's democracy. But this is where we are. We have not had a functioning parliament for the past couple of days, and today was no exception. All right, so those are the pictures on your screen from earlier in the day on how paper was actually thrown again. And the speaker there, you can see like that little glimpse over there. Like I said, not the first day when the paper was actually hurled. Earlier, yesterday as well, papers were torn and thrown, and all those slogans were made inside Parliament that led to also suspension. Piyush is back with us for more on this. So Piyush, could we just reflect a little bit on the work that has been done in Parliament in this budget session? The budget session, of course, went, the day of the budget actually went as expected. You are laughing at that point because you're thinking, can it really happen in the middle of all this politics? Can work really take place inside Parliament? We've seen suspensions, we've seen political, slurs being used, we've seen sloganeering, we've seen people on top of their benches, we've seen protests outside on the steps of the Parliament as well. So it's been a full political drama, not much work.
Well, a lot of drama has happened. We have witnessed. The day when budget was tabled, all the MPs listened it patiently, and they all were paying attention to what Nirmala Sitharaman was saying. After the budget was tabled, the House got adjourned, and all opposition MPs, they opposed it. All government MPs, they supported it. The next day, the discussion on motion of thanks to the president's speech was to take place, and that is the normal procedure which is always followed in budget session. When this was to happen, it was Sarwan Sonowal, Union Minister, who comes from the state of Assam. He, supported the motion of thanks to the president's speech. After that, Tejasvi Surya, who comes from the state of Karnataka, he seconded the motion. And soon after that, leader of opposition speaks, and it was Rahul Gandhi who started speaking. And the moment he started speaking, he...
just hold on to that. There's more detail coming in on what exactly happened at 5 o'clock inside Lok Sabha today. And stay on with us as I give all those details to our viewers as well. Now, what happened inside? Let's get you an insider's perspective from Lok Sabha. The opposition parties were all set with slogans and posters, TMC, Congress, SP. All of them decided to have posters and banners in their hand, slogans also ready. The opposition MPs ran and went up to the BJP MPs as well. That's what happened inside Parliament right before it had to be adjourned and the Prime Minister's speech could not take place. Now, we are told that Anurag Thakur, Kiran Rijiju, Ashwini, Vaishnaw as well, then started talking with opposition leaders, trying to build a
Smart
consensus.
both.
All right.
I mean,
We also know that the opposition MPs ran into the well. The opposition MPs went up to BJP MPs over there. We know Jitendra Hooda also got into the mix of it. My colleague Himanshu saw that entire scene unfold and joins us now. Himanshu, explain to us what exactly happened at 5 o'clock in Lok Sabha.
देखिए लोकसभा के अंदर जो है कांग्रेस के जो सांसद हैं वो जो है होर्डिंग्स लेके आए थे और उसके बाद जो है हंगामा हुआ और उसके बाद जो चेयर है उसने सदन की कार्रवाई जो है कल तक के लिए स्थगित कर दी। मेरे साथ है रवनीत सिंह बिट्टू। बिट्टू साहब, आज जो है आप जब सदन में आ रहे थे तो क्या हुआ, राहुल गांधी ने आपको क्या कहा जिस वजह से ये सारे चेयर है प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने आपसे क्या और सुबह जब मैं तो 12 बजे सीरियल तैयारी से 11:30 बजे आया और सारा मीडिया वहां है। मेन एंट्रेंस से मैं अपना राइट साइड से करने लगा, मैं फीड के बैठे कोई घेर की तरफ, फिर मैंने आपको समझ में भाई आना भी मेरे से पड़ेगा। हाथ खिलाफ मैं के साथ
All right, we'll get back to Himanshu in just a bit. Let me cut across to my colleague Aishwarya, also joining us for more on this. Aishwarya, we saw barely the Lok Sabha sit-in for minutes. I was taking a note on my clock. It was barely minutes where we saw some ruckus, and that was that. There was some sloganeering, there were some banners as well. Just put this in context for us. What happened?
Well, Sonal, let me just tell you what exactly happened before what happened at 5 p.m. From about 4:40, let me tell you, all the opposition leaders, the top leaders, in fact, if we speak about the TMC, then it was Abhishek Banerjee who walked in with Mahua Moitra and Kalyan Banerjee. Dimple Yadav was also present with the majority of the MPs from the Samajwadi Party. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, let me tell you, walked in 10 minutes before the Prime Minister was supposed to speak, which tells you that the opposition was fully geared up. I was sitting in the gallery and what I noticed was that there was a lot of preparation that was being done by the opposition. They had banners, Sonal. They in fact also were speaking about what they need to speak together unitedly once the Prime Minister starts speaking. So there was a lot of coordination that was happening. I at one point of time even in fact saw Mahua Moitra walk up to Supriya Sule and they were speaking and getting ready to ambush the government and to stand up and to do a lot of sloganeering when the Prime Minister speaks. As soon as the clock hit 5, we saw that Sandhya Rai, she came and she sat. And as soon as she sat, we saw that some of the MPs, including Jitendra Hooda from the Congress, all of them rushed into the well. And within minutes, barely 2 minutes, 5:02 was when the House was being adjourned. But even after that, let me tell you, the ruckus did not stop there, Sonal. And we did see how the top leaders of the BJP were trying to calm the opposition leaders, top leaders like Ashwini, Vaishnaw, Kiran, and in fact even Anurag Thakur, he was also trying to calm the opposition leaders down. The House has now been adjourned, but let me tell you, from what we understand, this is just the beginning. The rest of the days will be like this: a very stern opposition on one side and the government on the
Right. But Aishwarya, generally these negotiations that were happening in the floor of the House should have happened, as a back channel conversation. Generally, these discussions happen in the chambers where the government negotiates with the opposition, says, okay, let's come to a consensus, let's make the House run. We want the Prime Minister to speak. We will also give you. So there's a middle path that is found before the session actually starts. In this case, it seems like no such conversation took place. There was no behind-the-scene coordination done.
No, Sonal, I don't think that we can say that there were no meetings that have taken place. In fact, a lot of meetings have taken place, but the opposition, inside the chamber, they speak something else. But when they are in the Lok Sabha, the kind of preparation that I saw with my very own eyes, there were banners, there were posters, there were slogans that were being discussed. The opposition believes that Rahul Gandhi should have been allowed to speak, and the entire Congress is now rallying behind it. In fact, Samajwadi Party also believes that today Rahul Gandhi is not being allowed to speak. Tomorrow it could be Akhilesh Yadav, Dimple Yadav. The TMC believes it could be Abhishek Banerjee. If he wants to speak something, he will not be allowed to do so. So how to ambush Prime Minister Narendra Modi, how to ambush the government. That's the focus of the opposition at the moment. And from what I understand, this is what the BJP understood very, very clearly, because when they came, before the Prime Minister came, they could see the banners, the hoardings, and that's the reason why we saw the House being adjourned. Not just that, as soon as Sandhya Rai sat on the chair, we saw a rush of close to 50 MPs, all of them into the well. So it was very, very clear that it was all set to become extremely stormy. So
Yeah. Aishwarya, the sad part is we can't see any of that on television because none of those shots get shown to us. So one has to be really present like you inside the parliament to actually give us news of what happened. That's the sad reality. But tell me, in middle of these negotiations, back in the day, there used to be mediators. I know at one point, Rajnath Singh used to be that man who used to build consensus between the benches. At this point, in this Narendra Modi government and in the opposition with Rahul Gandhi as LOP, who's that Sutradhar? Who's that one person who's negotiating between the two benches and trying to make the house run?
Sonal, unfortunately, I think you and I, we both will have to go and look for those kind of people, because that's the bridge that is missing. We did see today when Anurag Thakur, when he was speaking with Dipendra Singh Hooda, he had put one of his arms on his shoulders, and there was a little bit of a laughter there. But when we speak about hard negotiations, that is something which actually is missing. The opposition believes that they are not being given enough time. They also believe that as the leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi should be allowed to speak. So this, in fact, has become a rallying point. And we've also seen how the other opposition parties also, because it's not just the Congress party, Sonal, that came with those banners. The TMC also, they had posters. Ahilyabai Holkar, those posters were in the hands of the Samajwadi Party MP. So all of them had come fully prepared, and they wanted to disrupt when the Prime Minister was speaking. Now, this is something that the BJP and the ruling party did not want. That's the reason why we are seeing the House being adjourned. And you rightly pointed out, earlier we had people who actually became a bridge between the opposition and the government. Unfortunately, it seems like neither the government nor the opposition, they do not want to have those kind of conversations. They do not want that kind of consensus.
How sad, how utterly sad is that? But for the moment, we leave it there, Aishwarya. The Congress is clear. The opposition, the rest of them are rallying behind them and saying that they need to have a voice in the parliament. After all, that's what parliament democracy is all about. The government not having any of it, and the result of that is that the Prime Minister's speech, which was supposed to happen at 5 o'clock, now the House is adjourned. We'll have to wait and see what happens next.